Welcome to the Lodge. You've accessed
the Lodgecast experience.
Warning, warning, dangerous spoilers ahead. Enjoy.
Looking for some hot takes on the Lodgecast. I need phone counts and library rights. I want some hot takes in my eardrums. Watch out for salad dragons. These takes are coming in hot tonight. I want some hot takes. I need your hot takes.
Hello and welcome to a Morrissey-centric edition of Hot Takes. I'm your Lodge Master. With me, as always, is Brother Bishke.
Cold-blooded.
We got Brother Lucas in the back.
Kill or be killed.
And joining us tonight for Fincher, it's Brother Nathan.
I'm just a killer with a heart of gold, guys.
Woo! Woo! Well, for once, we're not at the Burbank 16.
Man, it
Yeah.
feels good to get outside
does feel
of the
good.
comfort zone.
There's a whole world
Taking
out
in
there.
some arts at the Art House Cinema.
We're in prestigious Glendale, California, at the Laemmle.
Where the prestigious Netflix film screen.
It still hurts. It still hurts to see that Netflix logo
Yeah.
before a
It-
movie.
Spectrum.
It's such a trip to see Netflix trailers. It's like, what? Am I at home right now?
Yeah.
I know, we're just like a rat in a cage and they're playing it for us.
But, you know, in a couple years, this will be funny that we were even complaining about Netflix because
Yeah.
they'll be so dominant. But anyway, Fincher, we're back. What have we covered Fincher-wise? Is it just been Mank?
Just Mank.
What?
In
Wow.
20,
Whoa, we didn't do any revival. Yeah, I
in
guess.
2020.
And that was deep in lockdown, right?
deep in lockdown.
Deepest.
yes.
I was in a dark place then. I should apologize for what I said on that episode. I'm not proud.
I went back and listened today. It's absolutely hilarious. Go back and
Go
listen.
back and
Oh,
listen
you
to
just set it
Mank.
on fire, Elton?
I mean, we were locked up. We were quarantined for like 12 months at that point, or I don't even know.
It
how
Yeah.
long.
is classic vintage hothead
Yeah.
unleashed.
Oh,
This movie is a fraud. No, I've been politely listening to you guys wax poetic on it. And this movie
Here comes the hothead.
this movie's a
Here comes the
failure.
hothead.
This movie is a failure, and it's a failure mainly because
Here he is.
David Fincher's daddy, Jack Fincher, wrote the screenplay Mank based off Pauline Kael's essay, which was discredited. Like, I'll send you the link. It's a whole video breaking it down, but it blows my mind that David Fincher thinks he's like dying on this hill saying like, well, actually Citizen Kane wasn't Orson Welles. It was Herman Mankiewicz. Orson Welles and Mank were writing scripts simultaneously, and then Welles put them together. And that's completely omitted from the Pauline Kael essay. It's completely omitted from the film. It's mind boggling to me because to me, Mank's about like, don't believe the fake news. It's not just Orson Welles. But the irony is it is fake news. It is only Orson Welles. So you're a fucking fraud. Like, you have no objectivity. You're sucking your dad's, legacy dick. And I'm not on board. Like, I'm not on board. No, wait. I got one more thing.
Okay.
Hashtag legacy dick.
I was
I'm a
crying.
changed man for
You
the
were,
better
you were
now.
taking it out on the Lodgecast.
But Bishke, I don't remember. Like, I remember I liked it, and I feel like I had to fight some people.
No, we just fought Lucas.
Oh.
You were three and a
Yeah,
half bones.
you front
Oh
seat.
my god!
I was 3 bones.
Oh my god!
And Seth came in at two and a half. But
oh
Okay.
man,
but
Seth was
LT
a
gave it 1 bone.
I had a bone to grind.
One boner,
a bone
man.
to pick. I mean,
Oh,
So it's been a while since Mank, and Fincher's back. And
in color.
before
in color.
we get into it,
How do you get the protein as quick as possible into the bloodstream? A little schnapps.
From Rotten Tomatoes, after a fateful near miss, an assassin battles his employers and himself on an international manhunt he insists isn't personal, period.
Oh, nice, nice.
Period bullet hole.
Fuck yeah!
I mean,
Tight
straight
schnapps.
between the eyes.
that's
it.
literally all it is.
That's
love
what we
it.
watched.
I fucking love synopses like that.
Yeah.
So with Fincher, no matter what the movie is, it's going to look good. The editing is going to be right.
yeah, man.
The
Yeah.
sound design is going to be on fucking point.
There's
You said technically you always get 1 bone with Fincher. At least.
Always.
Oh yeah.
Oh, of
Oh, yeah.
course.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there are shots in here that just stop you dead. Like there was a shot through his his scope that was incredible. And then there's planes.
Yeah.
There's always a plane in the sky. Do you guys see that in almost every
yeah.
shot, which just keeps
It
it
was like
all
a
very kinetic.
Overhead plane that was right from Fight Club.
And it's a vintage Fincher reunion with Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross on
Yeah.
the score, and we have the writer extraordinaire Andrew Kevin Walker of Seven and
our favorite 8mm.
and our even more favorite
So, but
Brainscan.
Yeah.
Oh, Brainscan.
Yeah. And 8mm. Yeah. But so is this an adaptation of I saw
graphic novel.
So so Andrew Kevin Walker was doing an adaptation of this source material. That's what it is.
It feels
It's like a French graphic novel.
Right.
Yeah.
It feels like a video game to me in a lot of ways, specifically the Hitman series. I don't know if you listeners are familiar with that, but that's kind of what you get with this because the plot is so, shall we say, slight. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. I mean, it's exploring other things than just the narrative, you know? I mean, it was an open shut case.
I mean, it's an exercise.
It's an exercise.
in technical mastery
Yes.
and just discipline on Fincher's part.
I thought what was interesting though is that it's a character who's really in control.
Yeah.
You know, almost every block of the way, and he lives by this code. And this movie, or the time that passes in this movie, is when he breaks every code.
Right.
So that's what we're exploring, right? And
Yeah,
I kind of dug.
I mean, this is pure Fincher. This is cold, clinical, procedural, nihilistic. This is everything
Sure.
Fincher is about. This is Fincher.
But also, what Fincher is sometimes about and sometimes not about, I don't think this hits your heart at all.
No.
Like, at all. It is cold around the
And
heart.
you kind of know that it's never going to
Packed in ice.
get there.
It's
Like,
packed in ice.
because Andrew Kevin Walker is also pretty dark and
it feels like a lot of the VO feels, well, definitely Schrader. This is what
Schrader wants to be doing right now.
Right.
Oh yeah.
But the
Comparing
fact
this to
that they're
Card Counter.
aping Schrader, like 70s Schrader, is kind of funny because now, just knowing what else Andrew Kevin Walker has done, like his VO voice feels like a teenage incel manifesto to me. It just I can't help it.
Yeah, it threw me right away, and you really get lost too. Like you're watching the imagery. Did you guys get lost too? Kind of, you're like he could be saying like, to make the best omelet, you take 2 eggs.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
exactly.
you miss like 30 seconds here and 30 seconds there.
And that brings up my next point: is that this movie is so cold and clinical and visual that what if there was no dialogue? You know,
you
like
don't really need it.
You don't really need it because, like, what really does it bring to the proceedings?
It was really, I think it was just heavy in that first act too. I'm glad that it dissipated.
It dipped out, yeah.
It definitely like dissipated. But
then it came back.
I thought about the narration. I thought about this inner, there's another movie called The American by Anton Corbijn. I don't know if you guys have
Right.
Clooney,
Yeah, I saw that one,
which
yeah.
I felt parallels watching this one a lot. But that one is strip of, there's no narration, like you're just watching this procedural.
What do you think, Bishke? Did you need that Bickle
the narration? No,
narration?
I think so. I mean, I'm trying to think what it would be like without it. I guess it's just
because he repeats the same
it's
shit.
just kind of methodical. It just kind of mirrors visually what's going on.
It must be how the comic is laid out, which is
right.
It's
would
repetitive
work in
and-
a
yeah.
panel sequential thing,
But I feel like, like with his yoga routine and all that, you could do that visually. Like you could get a lot of that repetition through. Anyway,
Well, him spraying down, like there's extended sequences like that.
Suffice
mean-
to say, I wasn't fully impressed with the dialogue in this film. But,
It was very sparse dialogue. though.
there wasn't a lot of it. So that's why I'm like,
Yeah.
ooh, can we cut it?
I mean, like, there's some jokes that just don't land. No jokes land in this movie.
No,
jokes.
it's not
And
funny.
There's
And-
no humor.
And it's
because
like,
that's Fincher.
it's
That's
like, it feels to me like a Soderbergh between blockbusters experiment, kind of.
I was thinking of Haywire.
With
a lot.
less humor. It has that kind of energy to me, But also,
You think humor would have a place in something like this?
I
Though?
do.
I guess it's just
Or something unexpected maybe
Right.
would have a place, but that's
there were these light touches, like the passport names were these
Yeah.
Felix Unger.
It's
and,
all TV character names. Sam Malone. He was both the Odd Couples. George Jefferson, which again to me sounds like a teenager having fun in his first script. That kind of shit. I can't
and that wouldn't trip up the TSA. That wouldn't trip up. Be like, oh, Sam Malone's a very famous name. Like why would he have a distracting?
I almost thought it was like a danger because like if someone ever started piecing together like what he was doing, they could just trace all the TV names.
Would this guy be that cute? I don't.
Would he
think
listen
so.
to that much Smiths, which they have the whole singles?
We need to talk about the Smiths. This is like a salad soundtrack.
It is stacked. Fincher
expensive. That's why Netflix had to probably sign the check for all those royalties.
All the way.
How much did Morrissey make? How much did Morrissey make from The Killer?
Half the budget. Yeah.
Think about Morrissey getting that call from Fincher.
And then think about Morrissey.
I'm thinking about using, more than a few tracks. How do you feel about that? And Morrissey's like,
And then imagine Morrissey watching it and being like, "It was a bit shit."
Yeah. Oh, it was a bit shit, a bit dodgy.
Listener, you don't understand. We're talking like 20 Smith songs.
We're talking his playlist.
There were so many Smith songs that I was kind of chuckling to myself sometimes because it was just like kind of fun or silly. Like I couldn't help but laugh.
And I like how the sound design of the songs, like they'd shut the car, you'd hear like a muffled Smith song, and then the car would open, and then you'd hear
they're playing with the audio of it all the time.
When it would switch to Michael Fassbender's POV, it was coming in loud and clear, but then it would cut to like the director shot. You wouldn't hear.
You just hear it
You'd
muffled.
hear it one removed in his ear.
Yeah.
If it weren't for the absolutely awesome sound design, I would have enjoyed this movie like 50% less. Like the sound design,
it always adds something.
Was
Atticus
incredible in this movie.
There was like a gurgling tension beat that just drew me right in.
It's great. And the music, he just let fucking Reznor go completely off. Like it is just synth, soundscape, creepy, like almost haunted house music.
It marries the imagery too. Like we're talking cold and calculating. Like it just feels steely, and
that's why it's like visually, auditorially, like all these elements are just flawless. Except I don't give a shit.
You don't get. Let's just get back to let's get to Fassbender.
And that's what he says. I don't give a fuck is his motto.
I think he's captivating.
He's great.
In everything.
He's great.
He's always got this glint in his eye and emotion in his eye, and that's all the role kind of called for. You
need it. You need like a Robert Downey Jr. or somebody that's just pure magnetism at the center, or it isn't going to work.
Yeah, and he's so like fit. And he's physically he's perfect for this role.
A diamond.
But the thing is, for me, is like he's great, he's fantastic, but also lending to the video game aspect of it. Almost every other actor, save one particular actor that comes in late in the game, acts like they're in a video game. It's like video game acting with everybody else. Like you're
like talking in prompts.
Exactly. It's like, what are you gonna do? You're not going to kill me. Why are you here? Like it's video game acting. Hey, you need to fill the whole movie with people that are at least halfway to Fassbender's level, or else it's going to come off like a video game. At least to me, anyway. What did you guys think of all the supporting characters?
Well, some are just cast for the realism of it all, right? Like the secretary lady.
I believe she was. I believed she was scared.
She was rattled. Yeah. And it came through. And everyone else, we can talk about.
They're fine. They're all just kind of undisciplined.
There's like a stunt cameo. Yeah, Tilda Swinton shows up.
Tilda Swinton.
Which was
I love that
shock.
They referred to her as a Q-tip. That was funny. You missed that, Bishki.
I can't fully call her the Sala character because she's no more or less than anybody else, because he doesn't know her and she doesn't know him. It's strictly business.
Mm-hmm.
So when he finds her, she's like, well, I knew my day would come, but I was just doing my job just like you always do your job. So there's like no drama there.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, so it looks cool. It looks like if you watch this on mute and you imagine what they're saying, you're like, oh my God, they have some fraught history together. And this
is like his ex-wife or something.
This is an amazing scene. But as it is, it's just kind of like, well, yep, you've you've come to hand me my my death sentence. So
they all know what it's going to be, though. When someone
Right.
kicks open the door, or you close the fridge and there's a guy standing there.
yeah,
They all did know their fate.
Yeah.
So they're resigned. There was a glimmer of an idea there that I liked, where it would be, the killer and the victim have a special relationship with each other, right? And it's dire and it's immediate because they take their life. So I was thinking about, that the victim or that character needs to be represented somehow, and that was everyone that he was facing,
right,
because the victim is important too to his story.
right. But
Some
we don't
flavor.
we don't know anything about anybody.
No.
We know he has some connection to a woman that gets beat up in the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, he has a little paradise.
But we don't really know anything more. And maybe that's what a lot of people find delicious about this, is that there is no fat on it to the point where there is no bone on it. Like they've
Right.
cut
Well,
it.
there's
they've
no
cut it-
muscle. There's no
Yeah,
muscle.
But
nothing.
we've been here before, though. This is a tired trope.
Yeah, we've seen
this
Grosse Point
hitman.
Blank. Yeah, Haywire you mentioned earlier, which I thought
Haywire.
about a lot. Yeah,
There's something about seeing. We all love
Kill
this.
Bill even.
Like we all
Yeah.
love this in movies where there's someone who's a master at something.
John
Yes.
Wick.
and they're
John Wick.
and they're continuing, and they're a master, and they're continuing with a procedure. Like
Yep.
they carry through, like Anton Chigurh fixing
Yep.
his leg in No
Yep.
Country or something. We love watching that kind of stuff. Is it enough for this runtime of this film? I'm not quite so sure on that.
2 hours.
Yeah. When I was
It felt a little
when I was
long.
watching it, I was like, trying to see the hook for Fincher, like what and Fassbender, like what is it?
It's a flex.
And that,
It's
like,
just a
draws-
flex.
It is a
draws
flex,
them to
though.
it. And at first, in the first 10, 15 minutes, I was really perked up because it was like, oh, I get it. It's contemporary, right? How can you be a hitman in the 21st century with surveillance cameras
Right.
and DNA
And
technology?
having to rent out a WeWork
And he's
space.
in a WeWork space. And I'm like,
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
blowing my mind. Now I get it. But then as it unfolded and went on, I was like, okay, I get it. But like, there's got to be something else to it.
Yeah.
And then when you realize there's not,
Yeah.
you really hope for like juicy, Tarantino like characterizations or like, unpredictable violence or weird, crazy things where he's sticking to the plan, but then it's something, he has to improvise because all of a sudden it's going wrong, like in a Coen Brothers film.
Yeah.
But,
I think that's-
nothing like
yeah.
really happens.
That's
It's
the
just-
one hinge there is what sets him in motion to break all his rules. Like what does it? Is it just this little paradise
Just-
that he had?
Just the fact that he missed, which fucked his brain up, and then his girlfriend got beat up. I don't know.
Like
Your
ego-
guess is as
like
good
an ego
as
trip.
mine. Yeah, his
Okay.
ego is bruised, so even though he knows that routinely in this situation, when shit goes sideways, people come to clean up the loose ends, and he's a loose end. He knows that, so
Yeah. Like if he got, maybe if he got pursued, or somehow the tables got turned on him, or maybe mentally.
But like
I don't know.
literally nothing other than him missing, literally nothing else goes wrong for him. He gets beat the fuck up in Florida in quite the sequence.
An underlit house.
Underlit.
I
trash living room.
love
I-
how dark it was.
That was so cool. Yeah.
Because they're getting wounded and you hear blood, but you can't see what's happening, and that makes it hurt even
Yeah,
more.
they're using bongs as weapons. A glass bong.
Like
That's great.
technically, bravissimo.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's sort of
much-
outdoes Born Identity.
Yeah.
But who is this guy? What's he doing?
The detail is so good.
It's
too.
so good.
Like all like the throwing stuff away and like
Yes.
and the D
and just all
I guess
the
DNA Indians.
But he's kind of flawless throughout.
yeah.
And then when you get to the final big boss, he lets him live.
yeah.
Yeah,
You kind of need to end it on Tilda. Like
Yeah.
Well, that was strictly business, though. I mean, like the one with the guy up in the high rise.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean that's I guess that's kind of cool.
It's
that,
kind of realistic, I
Yeah,
guess,
I felt
that
like,
guy
yeah.
wouldn't know really what his implications were when he said
I
clean up the trail.
yeah, I felt like at the end when he met Arliss Howard, like the Jeff Bezos guy,
Mhm.
and he was like, "No, man, I got nothing against you. It was just something your boss like asked me to do or pay
Right.
for." I thought, okay, well, he's gonna go kill the guy that like hired the lawyer that he stapled to death, like,
Right.
and have that fight. But then
Nail
like
gun, nail
that,
gun.
that- yeah,
Nail gun.
nail
Yeah.
gun that like never
That was quite a oof.
that never happened. So I don't know. I was kind of left scratching my head by the end.
Like, how could you feel fulfilled at the end of this movie? Like, how could you feel like, yeah, satisfied? Wow.
If you're with, either you're with them or you aren't, right? Too, but
even if you are, even if you're like, I'm with this guy, it's just kind of like, okay.
Yeah, and I got that kind of like 8mm sick to my stomach feel. If you like when he like cracks the woman's head and throws her down the stairs, and like I thought he was just going to kill the dog. I mean, if you're going all the way, you kind of got to kill the dog. But
Fincher's like, no, that's my hard line. We're not killing the dog.
Yeah. In the Florida beat 'em up scene, there's a guard dog that he feeds some hamburger with some sleeping pills in. And, we've seen him kill all manner of people before this, but when the dog became in jeopardy, I started to hear whispers throughout the theater like, oh my God, what's he going to do that?
Yeah.
What's he going to do that? You better not fuck up that dog.
I thought for sure he was going to shoot the dog.
The audience was on the edge of their seat trying to figure out if he was going to lay a finger on this fucking dog.
I think because it's so loaded in the front, you don't quite know how graphic it's going to be,
right?
And that added some tension. Like there's a dismemberment. I don't know who was carrying it. I thought it was going to go like further,
right? But it didn't.
It doesn't. But it suggests something that it's never been on film before. It suggests like a way to do something that I thought was Fincher trying to go like, this is how I make my bombs.
Yeah, exactly.
Remove a puzzle piece, meaning the guy's head in a bucket of paint.
Yeah.
Just separate all the body parts.
Now
we know.
It's an interesting movie.
I mean, I think Fincher fans are going to respond well to this. Like this is because this is right up there. I mean, if you like, I'm thinking directors like Michael Mann.
Yeah.
You like that cold procedural stuff.
Right.
Like this is exactly what
Fassbender. Come on.
Fincher's good at, and it's cinematic as hell.
But those are the Fincher fans. The average Netflix user, you think they're going to listen to 20 minutes of voiceover in that opening scene?
And
like in a
30 minutes of
theater,
Smiths.
you're like trapped and you're hearing it come into the surround sound. But if I'm on my phone and like my mom is vacuuming, like I'm not gonna hear shit. Like,
Well, here was the other thing I was worried about, Lucas, is I wasn't sitting anywhere near you, so I couldn't supervise you. But in the first 20 minutes, Homeboy's taking some naps. He's taking some deep naps. Just showing him sleeping.
Yeah.
And I'm
his
like,
heart
God,
rate low.
I hope Lucas is not too.
I was kind of intrigued.
You didn't get sleepy though.
No, but I was kind of intrigued in that opening because I was like, holy shit, is the whole movie gonna be? Because I forgot
In
the
this
trailer.
room?
Yeah, in this room with him just like ruminating. It's like meditative.
Yeah,
like
we've
this whole
gotten
thing
shit like that before.
Yeah, this whole thing's gonna be like Tokyo Love Story or
Not
something.
with Fincher though.
It could have been.
Yeah, because there's an incredible opening title sequence that was really quick, fast, and then you're in that room for like a good
that folding, those folding like graphics, the opening title.
It could have been both sides of the blade style. All in one
that
fucking apartment. Both sides.
We were
of the
pretty close though. Lucas, we were pretty close to that screen with those that text folding in on itself. I mean, Fincher's the king of that stuff. But I felt that kind of felt like Seven too, like a retro Rio.
It was real quick. That opening credit, like they spent
cool,
like
though.
1 second on each credit, and it was just moving. I'm just like, holy.
We can't deny the cool factor of this movie though too. It has like a really. Cool. It might have been wide. I mean, this is digital. It was all shut.
I gotta tell you, and this is not the movie's fault, but this Laemmle projection was so digital. Like,
I can see the pixelated.
Chunky pixels.
There's screens too. Kind of make things like look more Netflixy.
I'll tell you another thing. I love that there's a new Fincher movie out, and I didn't know anything. Like all I knew was the poster art.
Yeah,
I had not seen the trailer. I had not heard anything. I just saw him in his fucking on Golden Pond hat pointing the gun.
Yeah.
And
which is reminiscent of Les Samurai.
It's gotta be that.
Yeah, I'm sure. I haven't seen that, but I'm sure.
Yeah.
That this movie's taken from that.
I'm just so happy that I walked in knowing nothing. Like I love that that's more and more common now. Like that's the way it should be seen. So any surprises involved are true surprises. That's what I'm taking from this oversaturation of fucking movies out there right now.
So much coming out. Yeah.
All right, let's go to them killer bones. Who do we begin with? Bishki, you are first to bone.
Gladly.
First to bone.
I mean, technically, where's the chip in the armor here? Like this is flawless. This is like
his
this is
footage
what-
cut so beautifully together.
the editing was so
the editing's
good.
perfect. Yeah.
And it's tight for, I would say like if you ended it with Tilda, like because it's an exercise, you almost need to keep it like 90 minutes because there's no real character arc.
Yep.
There's just no development in any of the characters. Like this is a stylistic exercise, which I'm fine with.
Yes. Just make it shorter.
But when they go to Chicago and they have the kind of last hurrah, like it's getting.
Did you ever go to that fancy health club when you lived in Chicago?
No, that looked like it was like
It was an Equinox knockoff. It was called like Sasquatch.
that looked expensive on the downtown.
They had digital
end,
lockers and stuff.
Yes.
That was so Fincher.
I love it.
Oh, everything's so expensive and beautiful. Yeah.
High end, yeah.
But yeah, cut out the Chicago section.
Yeah. So I was oscillating between 2.5 and 3.
Yeah.
Because it's so well done.
Right.
And Fassbender's so perfect for this role.
And you're a Fincher fan.
And
boy.
my Fincher
if you're a
fan.
fan.
But I'm going to give it, because, Mank was doing something new for me, for Fincher at least. So I gave that 3.
That's
I
right.
think I'm going to come down today.
It'll never not be
bitch.
funny just saying the word Mank.
Mank.
I think
On the Mank podcast. On the Mank podcast.
I think I'm going to give it 2.5. I really did enjoy myself for the most part, but I do get sick from kind of the nihilism and
Sure.
and just the cold-bloodedness of it all.
Cold-blooded.
Cold-blooded. So 2.5 is what I'm going to give it. I'll probably think on it more. I might bump it up someday, but
If we have our long promised, never delivered bone adjustment chiropractic episode,
yeah, crack those bones.
got to crack those bones one
Realign
of
'em.
these days. All right, Brother Nathan, what are you doing? I feel like you and I are going to line up again. But we'll see.
We talk about it as a style exercise or just Fincher in general. I mean, that guy knows how to line up a fucking shot, man. One after another. To me, I mean, the coldness of it, it's right where Fincher has always kind of been. Mank was this other, and he does these prestige ones, but this is kind of what you would expect. I mean, Fincher doing this real steely thing about a steely killer with Atticus Ross and Trent Reznor score. I mean, that stuff I just dig, man. Maybe I'm just this genre I like. I think following killers is a tired trope, So I was kind of fighting like, oh man, we've seen this. Like what makes this?
What's that new stank?
What's this edge? It's not the Smith songs. It's stacked.
Do you think
which was
that
so
was in
distracting.
do you think that was in the graphic novel, or is that
where they're calling with
where
little
Andy
musical
Kevin
notes?
Walker's like interior
Smith
Florida
plays.
house Smith song.
Because that's a choice between the creatives where we're gonna just all right, cut to that scene, and then we're gonna cut to that track,
We're gonna fucking
and that was
cram this.
distracting. The first hour is the strongest, but that narration in the opener just made me woozy. I couldn't follow why that was important in tandem with the footage. So my first thing was like veto that, and that should always be your knee jerk.
Yeah.
Fincher should have. I mean. But maybe some of that stuff is very important to him, and he thought it was funny, which it isn't funny.
Sure.
So I look at this thing. It's like let me look at the film in another way. I feel like it's like when you first get it, it's this croissant roll that's hard and beautiful right out of the oven, and then you eat it, but you're eating it in a tub of water, and it goes in, and that edge starts to go, and then it just softens. And
That edge does start to go.
So as the movie goes, it just kind of loses its strength and its tightness, and that's just in the edit.
It's that watery croissant.
And I love seeing Tilda, I love that they called her a Q-tip and all that stuff. And she
looked amazing. I cannot believe she's not aged.
She's just
one
a
day.
great
She's
actress to have a scene with.
She's great.
But it didn't have that edge, and it didn't have that like they were destined to be together, and that's what it needed for an end boss. But I like seeing her. So I'm right there. I was vacillating between 2.5 and 3 too, and I kind of want to just put out 3 bones because I want people to see it. Fans of this. No, but I mean, this was more muscular than some of this Netflix pap we've been watching.
Sure.
Yeah.
And even some of Fincher's stuff. So I'm gonna give it 2.5 bones because I think that's the true. But I have a glimmer. There's like
you don't want to Brother Ben bump it
I'm
up
not
to
going to
3?
Brother Ben bump it tonight.
So 2.5.
2.5.
But I'm 2.5 strong.
Okay.
2.5. Something tells me the hothead is going to be a bit more brutal on this one.
Lodge Master, you know me so well. You can read me like a book.
There's some silence back
Even
here.
when we're not sitting together. Well, no, there was some silence in the beginning because the Glendale PD were shining their fucking headlights on us for like 10 minutes. And I'm thinking to myself, are they calling for backup? Are we going to get murdered by cop right now? Because they think
Again,
we're about to like shoot up the Maryland office plaza.
You have to imagine we all have pistol grip handles on our
It looks so shady.
on our microphone.
Tinted windows.
It might look like we all have guns in our mouth.
Suicide pack in a
My adrenaline was
escalator.
spiked, man. I think you might even hear me exhale a sigh of relief when they finally drove past us.
Yeah.
There was
We
like
weren't
a
dead.
lens flare too, just like the movie tonight.
They were thinking about what they needed to do to us.
Oh man, but I love Fincher, I love Fassbender, but love this movie I did not because like the 4-bone Justin train was there in the beginning, like that opening was just killer. It was beautiful. I was like,
thought about 4 Bones too.
I was like, this is amazing. When he was going to McDonald's and getting his Egg McMuffin and then
Getting his
taking out
protein.
the
Strips
like
the bread out.
strips the bread out and is like
protein.
eating it. I was
Perfect.
like, this is contemporary. Like, oh my god, this is like my world, my real world. Like I eat at McDonald's.
He was talking about
Like,
his camouflage. and all
Yeah, I wear a bucket hat like that says AMC Theaters on it.
that. You're like a German tourist.
true.
But as it wore on, I kept thinking of Haywire, which was the Soderbergh version. Was it not Gina Carano?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Gina
yeah.
Carano.
Oh
and then
God!
it's
Oh my
Ewan,
God!
I want to say it's Ewan and Michael Fassbender.
Oh
Is he in it?
man!
Fassbender's in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? Wow. Okay. But yeah, so that kept popping up in my mind, and I was waiting for like a twist, and then like the twist never really came. And at the end, when he meets Arliss Howard in his like penthouse, and he's like, "No, man, like it's no beef, it's squashed, man. Like let's just go our separate ways and be bygones, be bygones." And then that was it. That was the end. I was like, this is weird because I guess like there is no. I mean, there are chapters which like I stopped reading. It was like chapter 2 this or chapter 3 that, and I was like, I can't even follow. I can't even remember what the last 2 chapters were. But then all of a sudden it's like epilogue, and I'm like, what?
It's over.
Like, wait,
was there an epilogue?
Yeah,
I don't remember that either.
Was the climax the dog that lived? Like I didn't know. So when the credits rolled, I was stunned. I was like, what? Like that's the movie? Like that's why you made the movie? Because why again? Like I just don't know the why of it all. Like I just really don't see the appeal. And for Fassbender, to work with Fincher, I get that. But like, what? I mean, I don't know. I
wonder if the graphic novel was more charming too, though. I
want to look at the graphic novel, but one thing I did want to ask you guys, like, the scene where he like gets in the taxi cab and drives under the bridge and then like murders the guy to like tie it up. Do you think Fincher shot that like 100 takes? Was he like, we're gonna do this again? Like I want you to
Every
really
scene in this movie.
I thought about that
like when he was like
ate
putting
the
his-
egg. Ate the egg. I was like, how many
takes of this do they do?
that gas station
Made him
egg?
eat
How many
12
takes do they
eggs.
take to do that?
But
How many bites of the apple?
I had problems just like with the backstory because I was like, if you're a pro and you've got all these ethos or like rules, what the fuck are you doing with like a woman at your hideout? Then like, how do
Right.
people even know about your hideout?
And
Like,
who even is she?
and like, and like who, like what bad guys come to your hideout in a taxi cab? There were all these like questions I kept asking, which was never like
The
a good
woman
sign.
was basically John Wick's puppy,
Right.
and that's what
right.
pissed him off.
And,
like,
and by the
It's
time
a
Tilda
catalyst,
Swinton
yeah.
showed up, like I love her, but she took me out of the movie almost. Where I was like, "Oh, okay, this is like the architect in the Matrix, like reloaded or
Right.
something." Like, so I
She's
got
dressed like that.
yeah,
for sure.
I got to give it 1.5 bones. I'm gonna knock it down a bone.
from the hothead.
The cinematography is one bone
Improved
alone.
from Mank.
The
If it was 90 minutes,
Think
I would be
about-
on the same page,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
not
The
more. so.
soundtrack is at least a half bone
the
to a full bone.
the
Which
scene
Cosmo's
with
really-
Swinton was when I was really feeling the John Wickness, where it was like, oh, we're in this place and hitmen can't kill each other in here, so we have this nice tense conversation.
Killers.
Yeah, Lucas, fuck. I'm on your page, Lucas. Like it.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Hey, listen. I'm
Not
not
on
going.
my page.
I'm not. I know.
You're all over the place.
He's ripping pages out.
Think
giving
about the
them
bread.
to
Think
other
about the
people.
bread. No.
I'm doing the needle thread because there's stuff I agree with both you guys. Lucas, the reason that he did this, when we get to the end, it is a shrug, but with the shrug comes, oh, this really was just a flex exercise, a flexercise.
Mhm.
And everybody involved was just like, let's get together at Muscle Beach and just flex and like oil each other up and like look at each other. That's all it is.
But damn, if it's
so
not
hot,
strong.
But it's so hot.
Like it's Fincher at another level.
It's Fincher.
Dude, when Fassbender stood up and hugged his legs, I was like, yes. Like,
please,
yes.
Like that yoga stuff
Watch
is
it all
great.
day.
Watching him crack his neck, watching him figure out how to sleep, how to control his heart rate. All of that's great.
Yeah.
It's all great. Again, I just don't give a shit about any of it. So it is a little disposable to me, where it's like I just went and saw a 2-hour demo reel for all these fuckers.
Mhm.
And it was all cool, you know? And I'm like, oh, great. I can't wait to see what they do when they make a real movie. You know? Like, that's kind of how it felt to me. So it's tough for me to give it too much. I think I'm at a 2, but because I'm already looking back and thinking about how cool it was, I can't dismiss whatever phantom feeling that is.
Mhm.
So I'm going to Brother Ben bump it up to 2.5.
It's a Brother Ben bump, y'all.
I think that feels right for me, but I'm really in my cinematic emotional state. I'm at a 2. Fincher freaks will eat this up. Will eat it
Hell
up
yeah.
and lick their chops and start it over again right away.
Fassbender at the helm. Come on.
Yeah, it's
And,
gonna be.
and Smith's fans will love this
And
shit.
Fassbender hasn't aged either. He's been around
No.
forever, and it's like
Yeah.
these people have been taking their adrenochrome.
The only
Yeah, he
point
was
where
good at his
Fassbender
jobs.
looked any slight whiff of his age was in the rearview mirror of the cab, and he had that fishing cap on, and he looked just like Henry Fonda, in Golden Pond for a second. He looked tired.
You don't want to think of that, you know?
I saw a flash of that. But yeah, he's amazing. All these people are at the top of their game. Now let's make a movie that you care about the characters a little bit and see what happens. That'd be real cool. Thanks.
But this is a Netflix rub out, man. you know what I mean?
It's a Netflix rub out.
There's so
And
much money. There's so much money on the screen, though.
For the record, the killer is taken as a name, John Woo.
Yeah,
is this
right.
called Killer
So
or The Killer?
It's
The
called
Killer.
The Killer. So,
Yeah.
The Killer.
so that's just for the record. But would we like to settle the score?
Oh, let's settle it.
It's time I settle the score.
Oh shit! I
Ain't no-
You know it's 100%.
Ain't no audience has seen this yet. So
Hell yeah,
Oh,
baby. It doesn't even drop on Netflix
Yeah.
till a week from this
November.
Friday.
Yeah,
we
November
are
10th or something
first
like that?
in, baby.
we are elite advanced. But what do the critics think?
100%.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
Probably-
Critics are like seals. You just throw them a
Critics.
fish
No
and they
way.
Critics are
clap.
loving this. 91%.
No.
100.
Very close,
No.
Nathan.
Wait,
Okay,
what?
90, 92 or 3. 93.
No, down a little.
I want to say
Ooh.
87,
No, up a little.
89.
Up a little.
90.
90%.
Oh, it's right there.
How many critics?
150 critics.
Jesus Christ!
Fucking
That's
seals.
a
What did I
healthy-
tell
They
you?
don't give a shit.
Dude, they get it. It's a crime movie with Fincher directing
Yeah.
it. They got exactly what they wanted, man.
If you're a dude critic, you're just like, yep. mhm.
Jesus.
Yep.
I wonder what Lodge Mistress Millie would have made of this.
Yeah.
Oh,
she's
man,
gotta see it, though.
she's always on my page. She would be like, I didn't care. Yeah, like
Yeah.
why
do I
Haywire? Like at least Haywire was the female lead, which was the hook.
Yeah.
Here it's just the yoga guy, I guess.
Who knows the bone count of Haywire, man? In this car.
Well, you've got
Haywire.
1,000 killing related songs to choose from, Lodge Master.
Oh, unless I just take a Smith song.
No, that's the low hanging fruit. You gotta think outside the
Yeah,
box.
that's
Yeah.
true.
Well, even the end credit was just a Smith. Just
Oh, so
die
much
by
Smith.
your side.
Yeah. Brother Nathan, thank you for killing with us.
Oh man,
Killed
I wouldn't miss
it.
it. Wouldn't miss it.
This is Fincher Squad now.
Yeah. We'll be back in 2
Squad.
years for another clinical exercise.
The killer mank.
Woo! Driving light, y'all.
Night.
Love and light.
I can't seem to face up to the facts. I'm tense and nervous and I can't relax. I can't sleep cause my bed's on fire. Don't touch me, I'm a real live wire. Psycho killer, qu'est-ce que c'est? Take me out tonight, because I want to see people and I want to see light. driving in your car. Oh, please don't drop me home, because it's not my home, it's their home, and I'm welcome no more. And if a double-decker bus crashes into us, to die by your side is such a heavenly way to die. And if a 10-ton truck kills the both of us, to die by your side, well, the pleasure, the privilege is mine. Oh, there's a light and it never goes out. There is a light and it never goes out. There is a light and it never goes out. There is a light and it never goes
Would he listen to that much Smiths